Republicans are now negotiating with themselves as they work to avert a government shutdown without any Democratic help. But a key GOP voting bloc, the House Freedom Caucus, could pose a problem when it comes to passing a government funding bill. Congressman Mark Meadows chairs that caucus.
Well, obviously we didn't have enough people tonight to take an official position, but the general consensus tonight was that there's not support for the current leadership plan as proposed.
Joining us now, Jake Sherman, senior writer for Politico and co-author of Politico's Playbook. Interesting to me, so much of the discussion up till now has been, would Democrats get on board with some kind of a DACA fix and help pass a continuing resolution at least, or at least a budget to keep the government up and running. Now it seems to be a Republican intra-party fight.
It does, and that's probably appropriate according to Republicans because they control the White House, the House, and the Senate. You could have an opinion, and many people up here do, that Democrats should join along because a lot of their priorities are tied up in this government funding bill. But the voters handed Republicans the keys to the entire government, and that's the dynamic. I want to just weigh in on the Freedom Caucus, which, as you rightly noted, is a major and serious voting bloc on Capitol Hill.
30 votes.
More than 30 votes, if you ask Mr. Meadows, who you just had on your screen. They have a choice right now, and a lot of them are internally struggling with this. Their president, they're all pretty close to, including Mark Meadows, who the president speaks very highly of. They have a choice. The government is going to shut down on Friday, and without their votes, the government probably will shut down. If Democrats vote for this package, they'll only vote for it after Republicans carry it over the finish line. So the dynamic right now between the Freedom Caucus and the President of the United States is what to watch right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if things go south and the Freedom Caucus doesn't get on board. I wouldn't be surprised to see the President weigh in more forcefully on behalf, urging the Freedom Caucus to get on board, and we'll have more about that in Playbook this afternoon.
So what is it exactly they want? Is it primarily more funding for the military, more guaranteed funding for the military?
It's a good question, John, and the dynamic is actually quite complicated because they actually don't disagree by and large with this package that funds the government for another 20-something days, 28 days, and then extends child health care protection and delays a bunch of Obamacare taxes. What they are worried about, according to many of them that I spoke to this morning and last night, they are worried that they are going to get hosed on a big spending deal next month and an immigration deal that they don't want. They say, listen, we were elected to keep spending low and not to cut immigration deals with Democrats, and Republicans are going to increase government spending by $100 billion, and they're going to do an immigration deal with Democrats, and they believe this short-term deal might lay the groundwork for that deal, which they don't see as something they should be supporting.
But, it's a case where they could win the battle but lose the war because, these government shutdowns, if the Republicans get the blame for one again, that has always hurt them at the ballot box in the next election, at least the last 2-3 times it's happened. And,
it actually has not. In 2014, Republicans got their biggest majority in the House since Herbert Hoover, and also won back the Senate right after a government shutdown. Right. That was a little bit more politically complicated because Barack Obama was in the White House. Here you kind of have a very clean set of circumstances where Republicans control all three players here, House, the Senate, and the White House. So it looks like Republicans would get blamed. But I actually don't believe, based on conversations I've had over the last 12 hours, I don't believe the government is going to shut down. I do believe that the Freedom Caucus is going to get on board at some point, or a big bulk of them, and it might be with the president's urging. If people in the White House are watching, they should probably quickly move to discuss this with the Freedom Caucus before this gets out of control in the next 6 or 7 hours.
From your lips to the White House's ears,
I hope so.
Jake Sherman, it's going to be interesting to watch over the next 48 hours plus. Jake, thank you.
Thank you.